Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep into something really cool today.
Yeah, it's all about renewable energy.
Specifically, can renewable energy really truly take over for those, fossil fuels?
It's a big question. Everyone's asking it.
Right. And to really get into it, we've got a ton of sources. We've
Hmm.
got like a recent article I found, some stats from Wikipedia,
Always a good starting point.
for sure.
Yeah.
Then we've got some serious analysis from the Financial Times and the Australian. Oh, and even a report from DOI.gov, like straight from the source.
Sounds like we've got all our bases covered.
Definitely. So one thing that really jumped out at me, did you know renewables already make up 28% of global electricity generation?
28%, that's huge.
Right. And think about it, in 1990, it was only 19%.
Wow. In what, like less than 30 years? That's a massive change.
Seriously, it shows you how much momentum there is.
Absolutely. And it's not just happening on its own. I mean, there's a ton of investment going into renewables. Like between 2010 and 2019, it was $2.7 trillion globally. And that's not even counting big hydropower projects.
Wow. So we're talking serious money here.
Oh, yeah. It's not just talk anymore. Countries are putting their money where their mouth is, like China, the US, Japan. They're all in.
Makes you wonder, what's the future look like? Will renewables be the main source of energy someday?
Well, the International Energy Agency, they've got some pretty interesting predictions.
Oh, yeah. What are they saying?
They think there's going to be a huge increase in renewable energy capacity, like really massive. We're talking almost 2,400 gigawatts between 2022 and 2027.
Okay, hold on. 2,400.
Yep. And get this, that's over 90% of all new electricity capacity being added globally.
That's incredible. It seems like we're actually on track for those net zero emissions targets everyone's talking about.
Right. To reach net zero by 2050, the IEA says we need 90% of global electricity to come from renewables. And based on those projections, well, it's looking more and more possible.
It's pretty mind-blowing, honestly. But, I keep thinking, it can't just be about building a ton of wind turbines and solar panels.
You're hitting on a crucial point. There are challenges.
Yeah, like what?
Well, one of the biggest ones is that renewables, especially solar and wind, they're intermittent. The
Intermittent.
sun doesn't always shine, the wind doesn't always blow, it's unreliable. So we need reliable ways to store energy, for when the sun's hiding or the wind's calm.
I see, that makes sense. So what can we do about that? What are the solutions?
Well, there's a lot of exciting stuff happening in energy storage research. Batteries are the obvious one.
Okay, sure, batteries, but how can batteries solve this problem on such a massive scale?
It's not just your phone battery, right? We're talking huge installations capable of powering entire cities for hours. It's pretty amazing what's being developed.
So it's possible. But what about the existing electricity grid? Can it even handle all this new renewable energy
Good question. You see, those old grids, they were designed for a steady flow of energy.
coming from power plants?
Exactly. But renewables, they change all the time. It's a lot more variable. We have to upgrade, and that's where smart grids come in.
Smart grids?
Yeah, they use all this cool digital tech and automation. Imagine managing the fluctuating energy from renewables, optimizing the entire system, making it work seamlessly.
So we're not just talking about changing the energy sources. We're talking about a complete revamp of the infrastructure.
Exactly. And, while everyone's talking about batteries, there are other storage technologies out there, like flow batteries. Have you heard of those?
Flow batteries? Honestly, can't say I have.
They're different from your typical batteries. Instead of storing energy in the electrodes, they use liquid electrolytes. Yeah, it's pumped through the system. This means you can adjust the storage capacity and the power output separately, way more flexible. Plus, flow batteries last longer and they don't degrade as quickly, which is super important for something as big as the grid.
That's really interesting. So a lot of potential there. But I was looking at this article in the Australian earlier, and some experts are arguing for nuclear power too.
Yeah, they're saying it could provide a stable baseload power, backing up the renewables. Makes sense in a way.
Right. Continuous, no carbon emissions.
Yeah.
But then you've got those concerns about safety, the waste disposal.
Exactly. And it's expensive. It's a tough debate, honestly. Lots to think about.
No easy answers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So all this amazing tech is great, but what are governments doing to actually encourage this whole renewable revolution? Are they just letting the market figure it out?
Oh, no, they're definitely involved. We're seeing all sorts of policies and incentives to speed things up.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, the European Union has this plan called Repower EU. It's all about becoming less dependent on fossil fuels. They're investing heavily in renewables and green hydrogen. Pretty ambitious.
That's cool. What about here in the U.S.? Anything similar happening?
Absolutely. We're seeing a big push for renewables at the federal level. The focus is on creating jobs, especially in communities that haven't benefited as much from, the traditional energy industry, making it a just transition for everyone.
That makes a lot of sense. So it seems like renewables are no longer just a fringe idea. They're really making their mark on the global energy scene.
It's a global movement, and it's not just hype. It's backed by serious investment, both from the private sector and governments.
And the technology keeps getting better, cheaper, and more efficient.
We're seeing solutions for those tricky challenges like intermittency and grid integration. It's a really dynamic time to be watching this space.
It really feels like we're on the cusp of something huge. And before we wrap things up, here's something I want you all to think about. How will all this amazing energy storage tech, those flow batteries we talked about, affect this energy revolution? Could it be the thing that finally pushes renewables over the edge, making them the dominant energy source? It's something to ponder. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.
It's been a fascinating discussion. See you next time.